All we got to do is get it to the market, show it to them, and that's why we're going to go to GIE, and Jerry will be talking about that more here in a little bit. Now, and from that, basically, we want to go into what our, and I'll briefly just talk about this. This is our rotary engine that basically we actually been working on a lot longer, actually. But it does have it's fully patented, and it is a rotary design that was basically originally designed to get away from a crankcase like a normal engine. This basically will have sealed bearings. They'll have no oil in the crankcase. And basically there's no oil exposure to any of the atmosphere, like you would have by piston and compression ring leaks and stuff like that. And so we're sealing the combustion chamber, the firing chamber, completely away from any oil that's in this engine to lube it. And so once we do that, now we can use different types of fuel. We can use vaporized fuel like LP gas. We can use methane gas that they're getting out of the landfills. We can use natural gas, basically, that they get off of your oil wells. And their main ultimate goal for this engine is basically will run on hydrogen. And how you achieve that hydrogen, we're really not sure how yet it's going to get to the customer. But when this is basically connected to a home standby generator and will power supply your house or small business on a continuous basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because of the efficiency and the reliability of a rotary engine, you'll now basically be energy independent on your own property. And when you do that, how do I fuel it? Well, there are infrastructures being built as we speak to develop that fuel basically on site. And it's either done with groundwater or they're doing it with natural gas, and they're extracting the hydrogen, which basically, when you do that, hydrogen becomes a fuel that's probably somewhere, they're basically estimating right somewhere 15 to 25 times more available combustibility, meaning that you're that much more efficient compared to regular gasoline.
Reed, could I step in real quickly there? We've we had a recent thing that's happened in the past week. Through the University of Toledo. We've met with some people at University of Toledo that they do have a hydrogen generator that they've been working with, and they're willing to work with us on that. And so we might be able to work out something with University of Toledo. And so there is some light at the end of the tunnel here about being able to have the onboard, on-demand hydrogen generation that we were looking for this engine. So now Reed runs out on me. So, but Jerry, you got anything you want to add there?
I'd just like to mention that the GIE Expo is a worldwide expo for all the main companies will be there, and it's our opportunity to showcase our technology and what we've accomplished here to hopefully sell our technology on our one valve and move forward with our rotary engine. Pretty much.
Is there any questions that you got? And Reed will be back here in a second. He's our technical man. But anything that any of you newspaper people have a question about what we're doing, or anything that needs more clearly defined?
How long are you guys been working?
In the business plan there, you'll see that we were incorporated in 2004. I failed to mention that earlier. So we started working on the rotary engine. Reed came up with the idea of the one valve head, and we sat down and in our facility at Raymond Tool and Gauge in Montpelier, we sat down, we kind of developed this with our current engineers and machinists that we have on staff at Raymond Tool. Reed had the idea for what we were going to do with this, and we kind of put it together, and suddenly one night we had built the head. We built the head. I'm an engineer and a machinist, and I'm not understanding engines too well at this point. And so I went ahead and built what we had concepted, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, Reed held the phone out and called me in Montpelier, and he says, "You hear this? You're a proud owner." It ran the very first time. And we were excited. Most of the time when you have a prototype or an invention, it's try and retry, try and retry. This time we stuck it on, he bolted it up, and it ran the first time. It was amazing. So we're pretty happy with what we've developed. Our patent attorneys are Marshall and Melhorn in Toledo. They took a look at the things that we were doing, and they were amazed. And everybody, incidentally, everybody that we've ever met has been excited about this. They've never seen anything like it. And, we know we've got a lot of work to do to get things developed and to the standards that the Giants have theirs at. But we're excited, and we're very optimistic about what we've got going. And this GIE show will get us the exposure. And we thank you for helping us to get exposure locally. We think that we've got something here that will really sell. Anything else?
Yeah, well, just to sum up the rotary engine, with this technology, it's something that it's going to evolve and probably is 3, 4, 5 years away. But as we develop more efficiency in this style engine, basically you'll see these come on board probably in the next 2 or 3 years, actually running out there. We're not the only company that's actually building this, although our patent is very well protected. There are other engines working on this, and another application, like Steve mentioned this now, is UAV, your unmanned aerial vehicles, is a big thing for rotary engines and low cost engines like this. What we consider low cost, but you're talking $30,000-$40,000 engines, and that is a unmanned aerial vehicle that would basically go hit its target and maybe make it back, maybe not. And that's really what the military is looking for, is an engine like that will run on different types of fuels. And basically this engine gets us to that point where it will accept different types of fuels without a whole lot of modifications other than electronic devices that are already going to be on board that will control that for us. And that's my end of it, and I do thank you all for coming, and any questions that you might have after Jerry gets done, by all means, go ahead and shoot them. So.
Incidentally, we have been contacted by Eglin Air Force Base, what do you think, 3 years ago? They got wind of our rotary engine. They did want us to show them, and we didn't have anything available at that time to show them. Also, we did get an inquiry from Orange County Choppers. They were wanting to build a theme bike, and once again, the rotary engine was not developed to a point where we could be of any help to them, and they opted to go with a hybrid, I think, engine at that time. So our intent for going to this show is to sell this technology or lease the technology to an OEM, let them do the marketing, let them use this in their engines. We certainly would be interested in manufacturing a head for one of these OEMs if they chose that the 17-horse Briggs engine was what they wanted us to do the manufacturing for. I do have 2 lots in Montpelier, Ohio, that's vacant industrial lots that we would be willing to put up a building and do the manufacturing, or Sue Smith and Diamond has plenty of industrial buildings that are vacant right now. And they have been encouraging us to look at that as an option for the manufacturing. I'm sure Christine's probably got a half a dozen in Hillsdale that would be glad to have somebody occupy. So those options are all out on the table, and we're willing to look at those. Our main goal going to this show is to find an OEM that will want to use our technology in their engines, and the funds that we get from that, we would like to go on and develop the rotary engine and go into manufacturing there.
Any idea how many jobs eventually?
Well,
Like to see.
Mary's been asking us the same question when she's helping us with our business plan. And this is all very new. This is something that the rotary engine especially, when people go to buy a car, they raise the hood up to look at the engine. You don't see that on lawnmowers too much. So we're not sure, how the acceptance of the American public is going to be with a rotary engine. They like their piston engines. So we've got 2 technologies available for the general public. When we go into manufacturing, Raymond Tool and Gauge is set right now to handle the small manufacturing, so we don't have to purchase new machines, we don't have to hire, we have the skilled tool makers. One of the things that we would like to say is, we appreciate all the support in the community, and this is an example of 3 business owners that have suffered the last 4 or 5 years with an economic downturn. And we could be like the rest and be a number and say, we want to do what we've always done, and we'll be a number just like everybody else. But we've diversified. We found something new. when you think that there's not something out there that you think that everything's already been invented, we just found one that hasn't been invented. And we've got a lot of excitement. We've diversified our own businesses. Reed's had his business for over 25 years. I've had mine. Jerry's been over 40 years. And so, you know, we found something new. Rather than to give up and throw our hands up and say, I don't know what to do, we've tried something new. And we're just putting our best foot forward, as Reed said earlier. So I didn't answer your question.
you didn't.
I'd be a good politician.
No, you actually get something done. Yeah.
And you know, that was part of what we did too. And Sue, I'm glad you brought that up. We went ahead and built the engine, and we built what we know works. And then we says, okay, we're going to market this thing. And the first thing everybody says is, where's your business plan? And we didn't have it. We went ahead and built the thing first. So now we had to go back and do our homework. And part of the thing that, what's the thing, the new happening?
Homegrown and happening.
Homegrown and happening is at Camp Machindo coming up, and it's emphasizing, get a business plan, utilize the resources that's out here, and this is what could happen to a new startup. So, any other questions? Okay, we thank you